This is my Project Amarillo F-350 that I've been working on, doing an absurd amount of work to. If you're interested in seeing me do the work I've got to this point here, I'll leave the first video up in one of these corners for you. My next step was to actually get the rest of the cab and then the fenders and the doors and everything all painted up. I think I'm going to turn to the professionals for that. I have a slot in a paint shop down the street from me, very good, very high quality. I would like them to paint the hood, the cab, the doors, and the fenders on this truck. One, because it is going to be so much work, and two, because I don't have a spot where I can keep this truck undercover for weeks on end, because the windshield and the rear window both need to come out of this thing, and all four doors have got to come off if I want to do this properly. While I'm waiting for my time slot in the paint booth, I want to do some general maintenance. I was having some smoke coming out of the exhaust. It's like a whitish blue smoke kinda. So I want to try to address that. I am thinking it's injector seals, but I don't really know. I am nowhere near a professional. I am literally just doing this like I'm learning as I go. I'm enjoying doing it. That's enough of me chit-chatting. Let's get right into it and see what we get involved with. I'm looking at the truck sitting like this, and I'm just thinking to myself, I would like to do some preventative maintenance because the job is pretty much ready. The fenders are off, the inner fenders are off, and you have access to the thing I'd like to do, and that is, yep, glow plugs. There's no engine light on right now. All 8 glow plugs are good to my knowledge, but it has 107,000 miles on it, and they could be original glow plugs for all I know. They could be original to 2006. These are about 18 bucks a piece. These are the factory OEM glow plugs. When you're working on a motor, don't even do anything besides OEM. OEM is the way to go if you want longevity out of your vehicle and you want to actually maintain it properly and take care of it. I actually did some research and I want to try this thing out. This is supposed to help you pull out the harness. It's got like this little tab right there, which you grab right there, and you kind of just pull them out of the rocker box there, making it easier. They say, I mean, this thing's supposed to be able to save the harness. We'll see. I bought the harnesses just in case. I'm not going to open them unless I have to. So to do this job, like, you literally need to take the inner fender out. Now, the passenger side is much more accessible. You can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let's give this tool a shot. I've never used this before. I just want to see if I can save this harness without damaging it. Oh, no way. That just pulled that thing out with ease. No damage to the harness. Wow. If you guys watched my silver F-350 build, you'll know that first, someone did the glow plugs in that truck before me and drilled through the rocker box. And second, I had a hell of a time getting the harness out. There's the third one out. Wow, there, the fourth one's out. Boom, 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 and boom. If you're doing glow plugs on a 6-liter, buy one of these tools. The part number is 37370. Let's get the new glow plugs in the passenger side there. Those just went in nice. Oh, beautiful. Nice. I had to pull my intake off here to get to the other two safely with that tool, and I am pumped to say they are out. Driver's side went nice and smooth, just like the passenger side. Here's all 8 of the old glow plugs. They all look very similar. They're all fine, but this is just preventative maintenance. And I'm happy to say that this tool right here saved me some money. So there's one more thing I want to do before I start the truck and make sure that there's no leaks coming out of the rocker boxes and make sure obviously the glow plugs are working. Let's go take a peek. Underneath the front passenger side of the cab, there's supposed to be a ground wire from, well, this is the old ground wire right here, what's left of it. Supposed to be going from the frame to the cab reinforcement support. Well, the wire was deteriorated before I even got to the truck. There was never even a cable here. So I have a local junkyard by me, and I was able to source a original OEM Ford ground wire here. So it's not rusted, it's in great shape actually. So I'm gonna get this guy in here and we're gonna spray it down with fluid film so this one doesn't rot away. Perfect. The batteries are definitely weak in this thing too. Alright, let's get this truck to a decent temperature and then take a peek at all the glow plug harnesses and just confirm that we are sealed back up and job will be complete. All right, no engine light, and we are well in operating temperature. Let's check for leaks. This thing's letting out some haze. Oh, it's so hard to see. You can kind of see it just fluttering in the air. I'm assuming we definitely are having some sort of an injector problem. So I'd like to get a scan tool on this. All I have is a code reader, and that won't do much of anything to test the injectors or buzz test them or be able to tell which injectors kind of misfiring or not working properly. So I went to my local Harbor Freight and bought myself a scanner. So this is the Icon T8 scanner. I've turned it on a couple times and got it set up. I have no idea how to use this thing. Well, this is all new to me. Make fun of me all you want, but you can't learn unless you don't try. I finally did get a video, by the way, of the truck kind of smoking like white and blue and a little bit of black. So as you guys saw in that clip, the truck is kind of like hazing, which just leads me to believe that the injectors are junk or something. So I'm going to do an engine power balance on this and see what the injectors do. It wants me to start the truck and then press OK. I'm pretty sure this is fairly normal for a power balance test for the injectors, the way they're firing. I mean, obviously it's not going to be a perfect straight across line for every injector. So I was doing a little bit of research online and someone said they had this similar issue, and apparently their intercooler had a hole in it. I took my whole intake off right to the turbo. I am not taking credit for this. I'm getting this idea from the legendary Diesel Tech Ron. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. Rest in peace, but he has such informational videos on YouTube. So what this is this is just like a 4-inch plumber's cap, rubber cap with and I put a valve stem in it so I can pressurize the charge system up to like 15-20 psi and listen for leaks in the intercooler tubes, the boots, and the actual intercooler itself to see if I have a leak. Just pop her over the turb ski like that, and then we can tighten her up. Such a great idea. Okay, this thing is pressurized up to about 15 pounds right now, and I'm not hearing any sort of leaks. What a little cool test this was. I mean, it was very cheap. I spent about $15 on this valve stem and this rubber plug here, rubber cap. It's going to bleed down, obviously, because you're pushing air right into the motor and some of the valves are open, so we're gonna lose some pressure and it's gonna go out the exhaust. It won't hold pressure, but you can pump it up enough to like 15 or so psi and listen for any sort of leaks in the intercooler system. And I did not hear any sort of leaks, so I am assuming that that's good. That's checked off my list. The only other thing I can think of is injector seals. It's got to be the O-rings or the copper washers or something. So you know what, I'm just gonna order a injector seal kit up and pull these valve covers off and rip into the injectors. Alright, here's the standpipe. Alright, let's get the fuel rail or high pressure oil manifold off. There's a bunch of Torx bits all around this thing, and we will have access to our injectors after that. I'll catch back up with you when I get all these puppies out of here. There's the last bolt. This manifold goes into the injector, so you want to lift this thing up as straight as possible. Get this thing out of here. We have made it down to the injectors finally. We got cylinder 2, 4, 6, and 8 down there. The wiring harness for the injectors is right up here. You can see it goes through the rocker box and just goes across down over there. So we got to unhook the harnesses, free it from the rocker box down here where the wiring goes in, and then there is a hold down, not the valve right here to the left, this thing right down to the right, that's the injector hold down. We got to release that, and then each injector should be able to pull right up and out. So let's get that done. Okay, so there actually is a special tool to release this harness from the rocker box to free the wiring on the injector. But Diesel Tech Ron, if you take an 18mm socket, it works the same way as the tool. And you just kind of set it in that connection right there. And see how it just worked its way down? It kind of works the exact same way as the tool does. Yep, there we go. Look at that. What I found that worked best was a 3/8 drive, shallow, 18mm with the 12 point. It would grab onto these injectors just enough there and then push in those tabs to release it. If you can see the tab right here, and then there's one on the other side right there. And it would push down on those tabs just enough to push it right through the rocker box here without damaging the harness. So that's great news. Let's get these injectors out of here now. first inspection, they all look good. Obviously, they have some carbon built up, so I'd like to clean the tips off on all of them and make sure there's no cracks. And then after I make sure there's no cracks, I got new seals and copper washers. The sealing surface from the copper washer to the cylinder head, I think oil seeping through past the seal and getting into the combustion chamber, causing it to smoke. I don't know for certain. I'm just hoping so. That's the issue. So I'm gonna get those copper washers off, and then there's 2 O-rings. There's one here, one there, and then also have some on the connectors. No doubt about it, Ford Motorcraft. And while I'm in here, it just doesn't even seem right to not replace the standpipes and the dummy plugs. I didn't see any sort of issue with the standpipe here. The dummy plug looked good. Just the bottom O-ring right there, you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, it might not come up good on camera, but it's kind of crushed right there actually. It's pretty thin. So I'm wondering if oil was seeping past that as well. So obviously OEM Ford, we got 2 new standpipes and 2 new dummy plugs. I'm learning as I go here. I don't see any damage or anything with this tip, so let's get the new seal kit on this. Alright, that is a freshly resealed injector. Now I gotta do all these ones. Okay, here's injectors 2, 4, 6, and 8. All the tips look beautiful on. There's no cracks, no damage on the tips. They got all new copper washers. All new O-rings up here to seal the fuel in, and then the new O-ring on the connector. So let's get these back in. I did put oil all over the mating surfaces too, just as an FYI. All right, let's get these injectors torqued down. I have heard, so don't quote me, that these injectors need to be torqued down between 26 and 28 foot-pounds. So I'm going right in the middle. I'm going to 27 foot-pounds on each injector. I think I should be safe. All right, so all 4 of my injectors on the driver's side are now torqued down. Let's get the electrical connections situated and put in before we forget about those. And we need to make sure that this side of the connection clicks into the rocker box so it does not push back through. So all 4 injectors on the driver's side are resealed, torqued down, and connections are seated properly. Let's get the oil rail back on. All right, so I think that this oil rail gets torqued down to about 8 to 10 foot-pounds per bolt. And I'm assuming you want to start in the middle and work your way out, so that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so the oil rail is torqued down, all set. Now we are ready to reinstall the dummy plug and the standpipe. I think that these are original, but I'm not 110% positive. So these are a 10 millimeter hex head to take these off. And I guess that they have updated them to a bigger 12 millimeter hex head and installed these white nylon washers around the O-rings too. I guess it's a better seal. I am putting a brand new OEM Ford valve cover gasket on this. Okay, driver's side valve cover is all buttoned up, torqued down. We got the Fickum brackets on here, the front and the back there. So anyway, let's get the exhaust back pressure sensor hooked up, and then we'll get the Fickum hooked up as well as the glow plug harness. Alright, we got the Fickum on, degas balls bolted back on. I'm going to leave the intake off right now for a reason you will see later. So the passenger side's definitely a little bit tighter and more tricky. I have the oil manifold unbolted, completely unbolted. We got to pull it out with the standpipe in, as you can see. Got the standpipe out of there. Here comes the oil manifold. I'm sure it's dripping oil everywhere. Just like on the driver's side, there is a little thin spot, not nearly as bad, but there is a thin spot in that O-ring about right there. And then the standpipe itself seems fine to me, but you know what? I don't want to pull this back apart, so we're updating those standpipes, and I'm putting some miles on this truck with no issues. So all 4 injector plugs are out safely. Okay, here's injectors 1, 3, 5, and 7. First inspection, they all look very similar to 2, 4, 6, and 8 on the driver's side. I'm going to get these cleaned up and all the new O-rings on, and I will check back up with you after, but they look good. Okay, here's injectors 1, 3, 5, and 7 all cleaned up with new O-rings. Alright, I have 3, 5, and 7 injectors in already. I'm putting number 1 in right now. It was just kind of easier to get these things slid in off camera. the intake off the driver's side because of this right here. This kit, OEM factory Ford. I don't know if this truck has it or not, but I'm not doing all that work to the injectors and not making sure I have extra security. That is a blue spring right there, you can see, and that goes into the fuel, the upper fuel bowl. It's a regulator, and it increases the fuel pressure between, I think, 12 and 15 psi. And then I also got brand new OEM Motorcraft Ford fuel filters too. Alright, first we need to disconnect this line. Definitely put a rag or something under here. Oh no, I just broke. Wow, I just created a big problem. That's gonna be fun. Of course, this one breaks free, no problem at all. And go figure, the hardest one to get to snaps too. That's gonna be a fun chore. There's no blue spring in there, and I also have no idea how I'm going to be able to grab that. That's the broken bolt I just snapped off. Okay, I think I just opened up a can of worms here. Not only did I snap the bolt on the fuel pressure regulator, I think I actually damaged the actual housing, which is the housing for the fuel filter itself, and actually it goes into the oil filter too. I haven't taken this fuel filter out since I bought the truck, and I popped her open. Look at the bottom of that fuel bowl there. That's like dirt and rust and stuff. There's gonna be dirt or something on the bottom of the tank because these fuel tanks are plastic, so they're not gonna rust, but look at this thing. This thing must have sat so long with low fuel because the float right there with the steel line attached to it's all rusted, and then the mount itself, look at all that rust, and it just keeps getting better. I didn't notice this at first, but can you see that thing right there? That is the pickup screen that is supposed to be attached to the pickup line right there, that black collar right there. I need to clean this whole system, take the oil filter out, get this housing off, and see what we can find. Yep. I might need to replace this housing because I wasn't smart and snapped that off. These both look like they've been replaced very recently, but I mean, I don't see any dirt buildup or anything really in there. And I just went to my local junkyard and picked up a new fuel filter and oil filter housing with no broken bolt. So let's go back to the original plan and get a blue spring installed in this and put this back in the truck. Well, we're already off to a better start on this one. That bolt didn't break. No way. Whoever had this truck before me, this came off a 2005 at the junkyard I went to, put a blue spring kit in this, but I don't know how old this is, or even if it's an aftermarket one. I have a Mopar one, I'm putting the Mopar one in it. I have it, so. beauty. All right, she's all sealed back up. Let's get the new fuel filter and the cap on just loosely for now so I can pop it back off and make sure we got fuel coming to the bowl when we try to start this thing. Ford, and they want $650 for a replacement sending unit. So I got a new pickup screen for $42, and I'm gonna try to clean the rust off this and reuse this, and I'm gonna coat this in oil so the rust does not come back. Some motor oil. Gasket. Two tabs you got to set this sending unit into the fuel tank so it sits nice, and the gasket looks great all around. Before I even start to try to crank it, I would like to try to get fuel up in this bowl here first, and then I'll screw the filter in. And then also, there's obviously no oil in the rails, so this thing's going to probably crank for a little bit to build up pressure, and then hopefully it'll light off. Off. All right, this might be a quick one, like an on then off. Hit it on. Off. All right, I got some fuel up here. This thing might go. All right, I'm giving it its first crank. Fingers crossed everything goes smooth. Truck is not cranking over fast enough. I know this is a horrible thing to do, but I'm going to give it a little bit of extra oomph to see if we can get it to go. Truck sounds really good. I have not seen any signs of smoke, so that's a good sign. my hard work did absolutely nothing, but you know what? I learned quite a bit about this thing. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, consider subscribing, share this with any of your friends, and stay tuned because we gotta figure out what is wrong with this and why it's smoking. If any of you guys know or could give me a heads up, comment down below, but consider subscribing. I will catch you on the next one.